All right, everybody, what is going on? Good afternoon. It's time once again to talk about your 2026 Seattle Mariners. Time for another check-in. We are 30 games into the season, and that was a little bit better. The last 10 games did actually go fairly well. Yesterday was obviously really bad, but once you saw it raining and Castillo on the mound, you kind of knew where that was going to go. So overall, the last 10 games were fairly successful. Losing a couple games in the division is definitely not what you want to see, but they were at least able to salvage things a little bit. And things are looking just a little bit better than they were last time I checked in. So the team is 14 and 16. They've got a couple games against the Twins coming up here. The Twins are not a very good team, but we are getting their best pitchers coming up here, so we'll see how things go there. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks. More on them a little later. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about what the Mariners are up to. It feels like the last 10 games have been about kind of a little bit of a regression to the mean. And I mean that in positive and a few not so positive ways. But overall, I feel like this is getting closer to the team that we all expected to have when the season started. So looking at the Mariners right now, Cal is waking up. Cal's been playing a lot better in recent games. Julio's starting to wake up a little bit as well. He's been playing better. And of course, Josh Naylor, while he still has a lot of work to do to get to where we need him to be, he is actually starting to hit the ball a little bit. So those three guys have been a little bit more productive, and that's allowed the offense to be a little bit more productive. And it's good that they're snapping out of it because we are definitely seeing diminishing returns from some of the other players, like, for instance, Luke Raley, although Luke was always going to slide a little bit, and he's still playing well. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything negative about him, but Luke was never going to maintain that level of play for a terribly long time. We're seeing continued slippage from J.P. Crawford. He continues to be a clear, to me, net negative on the field and in the batter's box. So that's something that we're probably just going to have to deal with until he's not playing for us anymore. You're also seeing some regression from a couple other guys as well, more minor regression. Just kind of playing at the level that you would expect more reasonably, like a Rosarina being as good as he was for the first several weeks rather, wasn't really something I was depending on. And I do want to say this. This team was able to kind of save their season. I don't want to say save their season, but at the very least get things back on the right track without Brendan Donovan for the most part. And hopefully he'll be back soon. We need him. But this team finding a way to win games without Brendan Donovan, who was playing really good baseball, is very impressive. And of course, you got to give it up to Cole Young, who is legitimately playing like he might be the best second baseman in the American League. He is playing remarkable baseball. He's doing well in the field. He's doing well at the plate. He's hitting for some power. He's come up with some clutch hits. He's doing a lot of great things right now. Don't know where we'd be without him. And it's kind of tragic that we have to lean on somebody like a Cole Young just to keep this team around 500 right now. But it is what it is. Some of it is because we have some players that aren't playing up to standard, like Julio, like Naylor, like until recently Cal. But some of it's also because a guy like Brendan Donovan has only played 18 games. And we're not really getting a lot out of the backup group. They've come up with some big plays. Like Ref Schneider had the home run against the Cardinals. Rivas had a big hit a few days ago against the Cardinals as well. Even Connor Joe came through, which was a genuine shock. But overall, that backup group is not really providing that much. If you like sports, the best way to make them better and more exciting is using Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. Prize Picks, all you got to do is pick more or less on your favorite players' projections and build lineups with a few taps. It's the daily fantasy stuff, but it's made super easy over there. Whatever sport you're into, give it a shot. And right now, Prize Picks is hooking up users with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. All you have to do is use promo code HMA. I've had a great time on Prize Picks so far. It makes this daily fantasy thing very easy, and it makes watching the games way more exciting. Be sure to check out the social feeds feature so you can share lineups with your friends and tail partners or even fade their picks. Right now, Prize Picks is offering odds on the NFL draft. You have who's going to go where, what each team is going to do, how many of each position is going to go in each round, and so on and so on. Get on over to Prize Picks. Take advantage of that. So download Prize Picks today, America's #1 sports app, and remember to use the promo code HMA. And remember, always gamble responsibly. So I do think that this lineup is going to continue to be adequate. The problem is, again, lack of depth, where we have situational players like Ref Schneider who can be good in certain situations, but other than that, until we get Victor Robles back, which I don't know when he's supposed to return, but that would be nice whenever he comes back. It does kind of feel like you are pretty dependent on staying healthy. And we've already survived some minor injury problems this season, like with Donovan. But I look at this lineup and I see a group that can be very good. Although you might be a little bit reliant on a guy like Emerson being effective when he gets called up to replace Crawford. But it's thin. It's thinner than I was hoping it would be this season. But overall, some good improvement here. There were some really good games by this group. That Cardinals game we won, where we gave up 9 runs and still found a way to win. That was the kind of stuff we needed to see from this offense. It's just, I don't know if it's going to be enough because, again, it's delicate, right? Anybody slumps and we've got a problem. A few people slump and we've got a big problem. All right, so that's the lineup. I think that stuff is fine. The defense is starting to be a little bit better in some areas, but I don't know if it'll ever get to a place where it's good. We just got to live with that. Okay, the pitching. Wu had a really bad start the other day, but we still managed to win the game. And, everyone's entitled to a bad game here and there. I'm not going to freak out about that. Wu's still a good pitcher. Not really worried about it. And again, our rotation is something that a lot of teams in this league are going to be envious of. It's not had the greatest start. Logan Gilbert is still kind of trying to get back with his feet underneath him. We've seen that Kirby is not completely bulletproof, although he is pitching very well right now, and I'm very happy with him. And there is a little bit of angst about the possibility of Emerson Hancock regressing because no matter how good his numbers are, no matter how good he's pitching right now, there is a sense that he's not a great player, and that eventually, if you keep throwing him out there, he will eventually start to struggle. But none of that's really the problem. We all know what the problem is here. Luis Castillo has become a significant net negative. He's become a big problem. Now, yesterday, I understand the weather's bad. Castillo never pitches well in bad weather, it feels like, or even inclement or cold weather. But at the same time, it's not like he was pitching that well before yesterday anyway, and his stuff is just not good. And his contract is kind of a disaster. And I find it hard to believe you're going to be able to trade him now. Maybe you could have done it last season, but not now. And it's just one of those things where is this team willing to throw him into the bullpen or just sit him down and not play him or just let him go and let somebody pick him up with him making all that money and with him having a pretty good reputation as being a high quality starting pitcher for the last several years in this league. I don't think anything's going to excuse me. I don't think anything's going to happen right now, but man, I look at Castillo and then I think about what Bryce Miller's probably going to be when he gets back. Because Bryce Miller should be back very soon, right? And he was great last year and he's capable of being a really good starter in this league. You get that 5-man rotation going with Miller instead of Castillo, you've really got something. And then you've got Cade Anderson, who might be about ready to come up to the majors. So you've got options to make this one of the best rotations in baseball. If Gilbert can settle himself a little bit, one of those two guys makes you really lethal. But are you really going to actually just yank Castillo? I don't know. But it feels like every 5 days, we're just in a spot where we have to score a ton of runs to have any chance of winning. And that's not a good spot to be in right now. Like yesterday, yeah, Castillo pitched terrible. He gave up a ton of stuff. It was a really bad game by him. But the offense did nothing until the game was over. I had already turned the channel by the time we even started scoring runs. So what are you going to say about that except, well, he could have pitched really well and we still would not have won. I don't know where we go from here. I don't know, but he's clearly become one of the worst starting pitchers in baseball through the first 6 games here, and the stuff is bad. It's not like it's just bad luck. Like Jose Ferrer, who I'm going to talk about in a second here, he's had some problems this year, but it's mostly been bad luck. He's actually pitched great. And ultimately, his results have been really good. I don't think it's bad luck with Castillo. I think his stuff is just kind of bad now, and there's no coming back from it. And that contract, like I said, it's not something that can be easily swallowed. Anyway, so that's the rotation. It's still a pretty good problem to have. A lot of teams don't have a good number 5 starter, but Castillo's starting to feel like a no-win situation almost. We're getting there. Hopefully the weather heats up and he becomes a little bit better, but 93-mile-an-hour fastballs, that's just not going to get it done. The bullpen, I think there's an expectation, a reasonable one, that Munoz will start pitching better. He's obviously had an awful start to the season, but he can come around. Ferrer's actually been really great. He's really come around. He's just been unlucky, and he's also not a great pitcher for this team, but that's not his fault. That's our fault. Bizzardo's been pitching really well lately. Spire's been okay. Griswell is kind of sort of okay. Brash has been amazing, but I feel like we need one more guy. I feel like we're going to end up needing one more guy here because I don't know if Spire's good enough. I don't know if Criswell's good enough. We're being put in some bad situations right now in some of these games where we need to send out suboptimal relief pitchers to perform in big situations. Like Munoz, Brash, and probably Bizzardo, those are your 3 guys. I feel like you need a 4th guy you really, or excuse me, Ferrer's your 4th guy, but I feel like you do need a 5th guy, especially with guys in the rotation that aren't completely reliable, like Castillo, and to a lesser extent, you could even throw Gilbert in there. So I feel like we're going to need one more guy at some point, and I don't know if that guy comes from within the organization or in a trade, but I don't think this bullpen is quite good enough. And that's even assuming Munoz gets back on track completely. All right, so that's the Mariners after 30 games. Pretty good, but I am a little bit alarmed still. All right, see you guys later. Go Mariners. More stuff soon.